Okay guys, so I'm going to record a video of how I do my scanning for the next day and how I create my watch list. I haven't done it yet today, so this is actually me doing it live for tomorrow. Um, it's This is just one way of doing things, and I create a very particular strategy, which is only focusing on a list of earnings winners, which is what this list of 58 flag stocks is. They're all stocks that had recent earnings beats or a very strong catalyst, um, like data from a biotech drug trial or some government policy change or a new CEO, something like that. And I just operate within this small universe of stocks. So what I do is I go through my list of flagged stocks every day, which is this 58, see if they're setting up for an entry the next day. And if they are, then I just start them. That puts them in the favorites list. And then later I go through the favorites list, see if they are good risk reward entries for the next day, and prune that list a bit. Bring it down to the top 10 or 20 ideas for the next day. So, in terms of how I came up with these earnings winners, I'll make a separate video for that because that involves a little bit of scanning, which has a few complicated math formula that I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about, and a little bit of digging into FinWiz and doing some fundamental research on how strong the catalyst is, etc. So I'll cover that in a separate video. But once you have your list of really strong stocks with a good catalyst and or earnings winners, then this is what I do every day. So the first thing I want to do, especially on a weekend, since today is a Friday, is I'll just sort them by next earnings and see if any of them are announcing earnings next week, then I just remove them. Because that doesn't give me enough time to trade them like a swing trade. For a swing trade, I need the stock to go up for another 3 to 5 days. And if the earnings is coming out in 2 days and I don't have enough cushion, then I would have to sell the stock and that would make the swing trade invalid. So right now, as you can see, there are none which have earnings coming up. Earnings season is just going to start on Monday. And the earliest one we have is 425, which is quite a while away, so that's fine. The next thing I do is I sort them by percentage change in the ascending order. And I just start going through them one by one, seeing if any of them are forming good pivots. So reason I do it in ascending order is two. One is if any of these from my list have fallen 20-30%, then I take them off the list. That's not the case today. The worst performer was just down 10%, and this looks completely fine. That is also going to be a function of the market. So yesterday, if you guys remember and traded the day, the market was actually up. It was quite a good day and everything was up. So I don't have any stocks that I need to remove from my watch list. But on a day like day before when the market was down and growth stocks were hammered, there were quite a few that I had to remove from this watch list of earnings winners. And the second reason for doing them in ascending order is because I love trading pullbacks, and most of the stocks that are going to present pullbacks are going to end up red on the day. Mostly in this zone where they're down, but down less than 1%. So I want to start and put my full focus on these stocks. And then the ones that are up here, they're usually too extended for me to do anything anyways. And by this time, my focus is much lower. So I like to start with the biggest red ones. Okay, so let's go. So BLPH, nothing to do here. Nothing here. Okay, Maxon. This is forming a 2-day pullback at a really good pivot. You can see this here if I zoom in on the daily. By the way, guys, this is the daily, this is the weekly, This is the hourly and this is the 5 minute. And I like having all time frames right in front of me so that I'm not toggling back and forth between, oh, the daily looks good, but let me check what the weekly looks like, and then let me check what the hourly looks like, and then where will I end up in the 5 minutes? And it's just too much toggling back and forth between all of these. So I just keep them all on the screen. So you can see on the hourly, this was resistance like 4 or 5 times. Now it's pulling back, finding support there. This is also a confluence of the 10 MA and the 20 MA, so that is amazing. Definitely going to start this. And later I'll go through all the favorite stocks and discuss what my exact plan for entering them the next day is. So where I would enter and where I would put the stop loss. Right now, we're just going to go through the list and bring it down from 58 to like the top 10, 15 ideas. But this one I really like as well. It's a 2-day pullback, and the idea is the same. It's back to the support level, which was the prior resistance as well, and then support here for these 2 days. So start. AC, love this. Look at this on the weekly. This was a recent IPO. This broke out of the base, earnings winner, and it just took off. Like it's made a 200% move. Almost a 160% move. So it's also a high tide flag with a 3-day pullback. And now this is pulling back right at the 10-day. Made a nice little transition candle. So I'm going to watch this for a pullback trade. Now, a mom is problem with this one is it's just been consolidating for too long. This is a good transition day, and look at how much the volume has dried up. So I'm still keeping it on my watch list for now. But something like this would require a huge volume breakout to actually take off. So I'm not going to put it on my watch list every day. I'm just going to set an alert here. And then if it starts to move, I'll get an alert in the middle of the day and take another look at it. SE, oh, I love this. So if you've been following me on Twitter, then you know that I already have this stock. I bought it on the EP day and I've added a bit to it. I reduced a bit the day before when it broke this upward trend line. I love this candle. It's a good transition bar. It tries to tag the 20-day, but doesn't even quite get there. The buyers come in right before. And looking at the bigger pictures on the weekly chart, this has just broken a huge downtrend, right? And started a new uptrend. So I'm looking to hold this until it goes to 350, which from 84 would be like, let's see, a 300% move, right? Even if I can capture 100%, that's totally fine. And I'm looking to add to this position right now, especially after reducing it here. So this definitely goes on my favorites. Okay, and this is amazing. So what it did, I didn't even notice this when I sold it the other day, but what it did was basically find resistance at exactly this point. This same level of $90 where it's been finding resistance for the last year. It just had a short pullback, and now if it takes off and breaks through this resistance, it's going to go up a lot faster. And the catalyst here was a surprise profitability. So that for me is even stronger than an earnings beat. Because in this case, analysts were expecting it to report a loss, but it actually reported a profit. And took everyone off guard. We can discuss more about this when I create the video on how to make a list of earnings winners. This one, it's got the same problem. It's been going sideways for a really long time. And ideally, I wanted to take out this pivot level and then get in. I don't want to get in here prematurely. But what I'm going to do is just set an alert in case this huge volume comes in on this tomorrow, then I want to know. AUPH, Again, if you've been following me, then you know that I traded this a couple of times. 3 times actually, made profits all 3 times. It's been a really good one. The only reason I always sold into strength is because it's a biotech and I don't like keeping too much money in biotechs overnight. There's always a huge gap down risk. So now that it's pulled back to exactly the breakout area and made this really small candle here, uh, I'm looking, I'm definitely interested in this tomorrow. So I'll discuss exactly how I'll enter it once I've gone through the list, but yeah, I'm interested. MBLY, same thing. I love this little transition candle, the two lower wicks on this. It's making higher lows. So look at this. Higher low, higher low, higher low, right below the 10, 20, 50 moving average, a confluence of all three. And by the way, a really easy way to remember which color is what moving average is just color them like the American flag. So it's blue, white, and red. If a stock is uptrending, then it should look like the flag, right? Like the blue should be on top, the white in the middle, and the red at the bottom. So this one, if it breaks out, yeah, I'm interested. And this is such a recent IPO in such a hot sector. Um, yeah, this should be at the top of your radar. Blooming brand, okay, same thing. Love the two long lower wicks, confluence of 50, 20, and 10, and love the low volume as well. It's going on my favorites. Did I favorite MBLY? Yeah, I did. 4. Oh, love this. This is an inside day, low volume, long lower wick. It's come back in the base. If you look at this little pivot level, this is exactly what it's testing. Yeah. So yeah, this is exactly what it's testing and it's pulling back from. And if it takes off here, I'm definitely interested. I'm going to delete this because clearly this was not an important level. This was. Okay, TGLS as well. This is at an all-time high. It's an old stock, but it's sort of a market leader, makes glass or something. And as you know, I traded this here. I took it off a little bit here and then a little bit more here. I haven't put the arrow for that, so let me do that right now. And the reason for that was there's actually a Hindenburg short report out on the stock that someone on Twitter sent me that I had no idea about. Oh, I forget the guy's name. I'm really sorry, but thank you so much for sending me that. So this company is, believe it or not, involved in a cocaine cartel, and there's like all sorts of crazy other allegations about murder and fraud and whatnot against this and that Hindenburg report. So it's something that I swing trade and take my profits at 2-3 hour. I don't want to hold on to long term because you just never know when this is going to blow up, right? And I don't want to lose like 10 hour on this trade if it gaps down. So, but for tomorrow, it looks really good. Inside day, long lower wicks. It's really tightening. I'm gonna put it on my watch list. Okay, LNTH. I saw this on so many watch lists on Twitter, so it's a bit of a crowded trade. But look at this. Look at this cup and handle on the hourly. So beautiful. And it's getting so tight. It's coming up against the all-time high. This is just too good to ignore. When something like this is showing up, you have to put it on the watch list. Focus to extended and Aqua, same thing. It's been going sideways for a really long time, but it did make a very good transition by yesterday. It is at that support level where it's bounced from 3 times before. So if it does take off tomorrow, it's worth a look. But for something like this, I would want high volume. Okay, so things should speed up now and we shouldn't have as many things to go through once the move once the percentage change becomes bigger and bigger. So Duo I love because this is actually a transition bar that closed green and it just came back in the base, found support at exactly the 20 MA and turned around. I did try this on Friday, but it didn't move much, so I exited at break even at the end of the day. I didn't want to carry it over on the 3 day weekend with the jobs report coming out this morning, which actually came out well, and then the futures jumped. So that's a good thing. But I'll take a look at it again Monday morning. Cirrus, love this classic pullback pattern. On. Oh my God. So this was a complete shit show last week. Broke out, failed, broke out, kind of failed, downgrade, huge gap down, trying again. Do I want to get in here? No, simply because it has this huge area of resistance. So whenever you have a gap down, that turns into a very strong resistance. I would want it to recover from this resistance, make like 1, 2, 3 bars up, 1, 2, 3 bars sideways, come up against this pivot again, and then when it takes off, yeah, I'd be interested. Not now. Spock, I like this, but it's too early. It's just 2 sideways days. I need a couple more. I generally don't like to pile in for stocks with such little consolidation, especially in a market like this. If this was 2020, a raging bull market, yeah, I'd be all over this. Not right now. Oh, look how nice this is. So I tried this as well Friday. Didn't move much. Closed it at the end of the day. But this is a perfect pullback and bouncing off the 10. Amazing transition candle. Definitely interested. And very recent catalyst. Diabetes drugs are also it's one of the top three. So if you have a biotech and if it's making a drug for either diabetes, obesity, or mental health disorders, then those have a huge market in the US, and those ones have the potential to make really, really big moves. Okay, EV Go, this was good, but when I look at the bigger picture, the weekly chart, look, this is the trend. It's still under this. I wanted to take this level out and make a higher high, and that's when I would be more interested in this stock. Right now, it still looks weak to me. Ampex, oh, this is so good. So I bought this on this day, sold half at 2 hour. Rest of it stopped me at a break even. This one is wild. It has a 13% ADR, so manage your position sizes accordingly. But it has a really strong catalyst of a new battery. So, and this is setting up perfectly here. So I'm gonna put this in my favorites. Transition bar closed green on the day, really low volume consolidation. Look at the long lower wicks every day. It's perfect, it's textbook. Search has so many different catalysts going on. The only problem is it's so extended. It's gone up, yeah, 100% already. So I'm gonna put it on my watch list, but I would want to see huge volume for this one. FTNT actually was one of the growth stocks that held up really well in that Wednesday and Thursday pullback. It's giving a nice opportunity now to get in, and yeah, I think I want to be there. Oops, love it. This is textbook. Bouncing off the 50, really strong close, and just dipped its toe into the base, came back right up. I'm gonna have a huge watch list for Monday. Oh my God. Which is a good sign because that means the market is really, really good. Gato needs some more time sideways. This is so choppy. Bisley, I don't like because it's come back very deep into the base. If it had pulled back and stayed here and then given me an entry, which is what Hubs is doing, that is more bullish than what Fisley is doing. So, no, thank you. Accolade is doing exactly what Hubs is doing. So, yes. Thread up, it's one of those going sideways for a really long time. Not interested here because there's so much resistance up here. So maybe once it comes here, I would be more interested. I'm going to set a price alert here. But that wouldn't be tomorrow, right? Because unless we have a gap up, because otherwise there'll be a really huge candle and the risk reward will be terrible. So maybe I'm just hoping it goes up 1, 2, 3 days, then sideways a few days, and then I can get in. CXM, I'm already in this. Yeah, okay, so that's good. This one is also making a good inside day on low volume, a good, it's curling up, so to speak. Look at this on the 5 minutes, it's like curling up. It has been in talks about a buyout. Is it the strongest stock that I want to look at tomorrow? No, simply because it's making lower lows. And I don't generally like that. I like something that's making higher lows, like it was at this point. So if this date broke out, that would have been super bullish. Um, but I'm willing to give it a shot, another look. Let's see. Extended, too extended. This one tried to break out here, came back, maybe a bit too much, but it is trying again, and it's exactly what you want in a growth stock. It's a new sector. My husband uses this a lot, used to. Um, it's very addictive. You can gamble on anything and everything from your mobile. The only thing that's going against this is how much it's pulled back into the base. But I'll take a look at it tomorrow. This one looks really good too. PD pulled back too much. This is sort of what Fisley did, right? Where it's pulled back deep into the base. So I don't like that. IoT, this one is a recent IPO, just broke out from an IPO base. Inside day, really liking this little cup and handle. The volume patterns are very constructive. Worth a look tomorrow. No, most of these now are going to be extended because we're moving into stocks that have moved up too much. VKTX, I mean, this one is so strong. This buying that just came in at the end of the day on Thursday. Wow, I have to put this on the watch list. Ion Q needs a few more days. Oscar. The catalyst here is a new CEO and it's an IPO. I do like the tightening and the consolidation. It's just these three long upper wicks that are quite bearish. So I think I'm going to pass and just put an alert on this. And then in case it takes this pivot out, then maybe I'll give it another look tomorrow. I did try this week and it just came back and struck me out at break even. Curve. This one held up so well during that growth stock pullback. Just going sideways, really low volume, IPO based breakout, beat on the top line, bottom line, new stores every year. I want to take a look at this, though it is a very thin stock, which is ironic if you know what the stock does. XPUF, I don't like this long upper wick. Not interested tomorrow. IHS, wow, there are so many stocks setting up for Monday. This is insane. This is one of the longest scans have taken me in a while. This one also looks really good. Higher lows, tightening up, low volume, IPO based breakout. Went up on earnings. It's got everything we want to see. Really, it pulled back a bit much into the space, and it's already made two legs up. This would be the third leg. Um, though it is back at the pivot point. It's a hard one to ignore too. I'm just going to put it on the watch list, but it's not going to be one of my top watches. Nerdy. Oh gosh, this looks good too. I'm just worried about how long the watch list is going to be for Monday now. It's got everything. It's doing everything right. I have to put it. RVNC, this one looks so good. Higher lows, surfing the 10, 20, 50. It even tried to break out yesterday. Sorry, but didn't have much volume. And this is, yes, it's a wrinkle removing drug. So again, huge market. I have to put this on the watch list. This one's extended finally. Tech, I already have this. I bought this yesterday, sold half at 2 hour. Burr did the same. I sold all of it at 1 hour. Yeah. And I don't want to get back into this. It's too extended now. Too extended. This one broke out yesterday, but look at the volume. It was so average. That's the reason I let it go. And now it's not giving us an entry. Nope. Okay, oh gosh, even this looks good. So this is Sound AI, part of the AI theme, which if you're trading the US markets, you should know is the hottest theme in the market right now. So it did go down 2 days in sympathy with that downgrade on AI, but it bounced back huge yesterday. Look at the volume, strong close. This is doing things right. Um, does it need to consolidate a bit more? Yeah, because the range yesterday on this was like 20%. So it needs to tighten up a bit more. But, and all of this is just overhead resistance. Hmm, I'm going to pass on it for tomorrow. No. So this I'm not even sure why this is here. Sorry, this shouldn't be here. And this one, exactly the same as sound. Gonna pass on it. Need it to calm down a bit and then revisit in a few days. Oh God. Okay, I have 29 in my shortlist. That's crazy. That's like more than half of the earnings winners are setting up for tomorrow. That rarely ever happens. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through this and try and remove any that don't have a good risk reward. So if I enter above the high of yesterday, which is usually my entry signal, my trigger for entering a stock, the stock would be actually for this one, I would want a huge volume because there's been a huge consolidation. So it would need to show me that it's really ready to make another move and not just chop around. So I would enter this only on huge volume and put the stop at the low of day. Nerdy, this is really nice. This is a 5% pivot on a 7% ADR stock. So even if I enter it on H1 and put the stop here at the swing low, I can get a good risk reward. Really, maybe a bit too wild because the pivot here is 4.2 versus an ADR of 3.8. So I'm going to remove this. IHS, this kind of broke out the other day. But this is still tight. The pivot is still just 4%. So I'm keeping it. I really like this one. Very tight. Keeping it. This one looks good too. I can't think of a reason to remove it. IoT. So the way I would play this is, say volume's coming in tomorrow and I enter this, like say here, I would take half a position here and then take another half if it gets through this pivot. I wouldn't want to go all in here because this one's been resistance for a few days now, for a few weeks now. And so if it comes up here, I want to see how it's behaving. I don't just want it to try to break out, hit resistance, squat back in, and waste all of that capital. Axon, love it here. One of my top watches. DKNG, I'm probably going to remove because it fell back too deep into the base. So I have better setups for tomorrow. Same reason for this one, it's making lower lows. I have so many better setups that I'm going to remove this. Now what I'm trying to do is bring this list down to at least 20 so that I can be more focused at the open. And you know what stocks usually do at the open is if the market is going up, most of them are going to be going up too. So at that time, I don't want to go through a list of 30 stocks and have to scan through and pick out the top names. And if the market is going down, most of them are not going to be breaking out, and this watch list is just going to be all red. So because there's such a high correlation, and I want to maintain my focus at the open, I'm just going to prune it down by another 5 or 6 names and focus only on the best ones. So ACCD, I really like this on the weekly too. It's breaking out of this huge base. So I'm going to keep it. Ups, same here. And this is another way that you can prune your watch list is look at the bigger picture and see which setups look good even on the weekly and then prioritize those. FTNT, this is actually, it's got one of the highest relative strengths from all of these. So I'm going to keep it. CERT, because it's already made such a big move up and it's quite choppy going up and down, I'm going to remove this for tomorrow. I also don't like this high volume pullback the last 3 days. Ampex, I really like it. I'm going to keep it. BMEA, keeping it. It's at an all-time high and pulling back to the IPO day support level, basically this level. I'm going to keep it. This one I don't really like. Look at the volume on this downside. Plus, it's come back deep into the base, right? It should have pulled back, stopped here. And then I would have bought it as a pullback buy. It's fallen too deep, so you're out. Duolingo, super strong. One of the strongest stocks in the market again. An IPO base, so I'm going to keep this. Aqua, so because this has this huge overhead resistance here, I'm just going to set an alert here and remove it from the watch list. Because this one has not been showing relative strength. LNTH, again, super strong at the cusp of a new all-time high. Gotta keep it. TGLS, I don't like the volume on this pullback either. So I'm just gonna set an alert here and take it off. Also, this long upper wick is terrible. That's very bearish, especially after a huge run up, right? This is not what you want to see. Like this shows that the trend is exhausted in the short run and it's going to reverse, which it did the next 3 days. Not too keen. Or I like this, pull back right to this breakout area. I'm going to keep this. Also an IPO base breakout. Looming again is not really making higher highs and it's closed for the last 2 days below the 10, 20, 50. So I'm just going to remove it. MBLY, I want to keep it for the high lows and because it's such a recent IPO. AUPH, I want to keep it again because it's pulled back to exactly the top of the base. SE, one of the strongest stocks, and I want to add to my existing position so it stays in. KC, same as SE, IPO based breakout, one of the strongest. I've been waiting for an entry in this for a while. CMPR, so this one I could remove because it didn't really have any transition signs on Thursday. What I can do instead is set an alert here, and then if it's taking out the high of yesterday, then I could take a look at it, see if there's volume coming in, and then get it. Maxin I like because pull back to the top of the base. Plus it behaved really well in the last in that day tech rec. So okay, now we're down to 20. Yay. Which is my max. The max number that I would have on a watch list. So this was tiring and this was long, but this is a testament to the strength of the market. I don't think it's just the mega caps that are moving. There are quite a few growth stocks that are moving too. And this gives me reason to be more bullish tomorrow. So now I'm going to write up my essay for tomorrow, post the watch list, and I hope this helped some of you just get some ideas on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And if you have any ideas for how I can do it better, let me know. Thank you.